KOTLC Chapter 9 Sophie. I think I'm starting to understand why the council let Glimmer stay here, Sophie grumbled as she bent to catch her breath. I swear this place is harder to get to than Exile. At least those stairs go down. It also didn't help that she couldn't see their destination. Somewhere up ahead, much farther than Sophie wanted to think about, the stone staircase they were climbing disappeared into the misty clouds. Titan's house hopefully wasn't too far beyond that. Fitz arched his back in a stretch. I still think we should try levitating. Not in these winds, Biana told him. We'd be swept so far out to sea, we'd never get back. Yeah, I guess. He lunged to stretch his quads, rubbing his left knee where he straightened. Is your leg hurting? Sophie asked, realizing that was the same leg that Umber injured when she attacked Fitz with Shadow Flux. It's fine, Fitz promised. You're sure? Biana pressed. I saw you limping little while ago. I wasn't limping, I was just taking slower steps. He glanced at Sophie, who must have looked as unconvinced as Biana, because he dragged his finger through his hair. I'm out of shape, okay? Thanks for making me feel bad. Sophie let him off the hook. Clearly, we are all out of shape. Hey, speak for yourself. Biana sprinted up the next few steps, blinking in and out of sight with each movement. I run laps around Everglen every morning, and I'm always faster than Volzer. It's my job to stay behind you, Volzer muttered from a few steps back. I can't protect you if I race ahead. Then how come Sanda and Grizzle are ahead of us right now? Biana countered. Because they know I'm covering the rear, Volzer shouted. Don't you know anything about battle strategy? Of course I do. Biana flashed her loveliest grin. It's just so much fun to mess with you. Fitz nodded. It's amazing your bodyguard hasn't strangled you. Nah, Volzer loves me. She blew him a kiss over her shoulder. Honestly, Volzer should have won the prize for most patient bodyguard. So, are you losers rested enough to keep going? Biana asked, tossing her dark, wavy hair. Or do you need to waste more valuable time? Fitz sighed. Who invited her? That would be you, Biana informed. You thought having a vanisher would come in handy. No, I just knew you'd sneak along anyway, since you're nosy like that and dying to see Tam. He stage whispered to Sophie. My sister's a fan of Silverbanks. Sophie raised her eyebrows, glancing at Biana. Biana's cheeks flushed, but Sophie couldn't tell if that was confirmation or irritation, or both. Really, Fitz? Biana snapped. You want to talk about crushes? Because you. Her voice trailed off, and she turned even redder when she glanced back at Sophie. They hadn't really talked about the breakup, mostly because Sophie hadn't talked much about the whole dating thing with Biana in the first place. Yet another yet another reason having a crush on her friend's brother made things super awkward. Fitz cleared his throat but didn't seem to know how to break the silence. Neither did Sophie, but she forced her tired legs to start trudging up the stairs again, and the momentum helped her find a change of subject. I think we should run through our plan. There's a plan? Fitz asked. I thought we were just going to ask Glimmer what she knows about the caches. Right, but we are going to need to make her trust us before she'll tell us anything, Sophie reminded him. See, and I think Glimmer should be making us trust her, Biana argued. She's the one hiding behind the cloak, probably hoping we won't ask how many times she helped plan the Nemesis attacks. She traced her fingers over one of the deeper scars running down her arm and shoulder. I know, Sophie told her, cringing over her next words even before she said them. But I think Councillor O'Reilly was right about something she told me. Willing allies are way more useful than forced ones. If we make Glimmer trust us, she'll tell us stuff she'd hold back otherwise. Or we can poke around her head and find out everything we need to know in one easy probe. Fitz countered. Sophie sighed. Yeah, but you and I both know probes are never that easy, especially with the Neverseen. I'm sure Geethan's trained her to block telepaths, and she probably has all kinds of false information in her head. Yeah, I guess. They climbed in silence for several steps before Fitz mumbled, "You know, I thought being cognates would make us way more powerful than we are." "So did I," Sophie admitted, trying not to wonder if he was blaming her for that. Her struggles with the whole total trust and honesty thing always got in the way of their training. "Hey," Biana said quietly, "you guys are being too hard on yourselves. You have done some amazing things. The problem's just bigger than that." "What do you mean?" Fitz asked. Biana traced more scars on her shoulder. "Well, we have kind of been set up to fail, you know. Knowing we have learned prepared us for what we are dealing with, not our Foxfire lessons, or our ability training, or even the stories we were told about what it would be like when we grew up. We are not supposed to have enemies trying to kill us, or massive evil conspiracies destroying everything we know. Our world was supposed to be safe and happy and perfect, like it was for old parents. But it's not, and it turns out it wasn't like that for them either. They just didn't let themselves see the problems. So now we are stuck figuring out how to fix this giant mess while fighting against people who have who have been planning this stuff for longer than we have been alive. So of course they keep beating us. Of course we don't feel powerful enough. We aren't. "Are you saying it's hopeless?" Sophie had to ask. "Are you kidding? I know we are going to win this." There wasn't a hint of doubt in Biana's voice. "I think we just need to remember that we are doing something no one has ever done to do before. And all the advice we have been given isn't necessarily good. So, yeah, we don't always do everything perfectly, and it can feel like we are not strong enough. But that doesn't mean we aren't powerful and awesome and amazing. We are doing our best. We just need to keep fighting. And we should probably stop listening to what everyone's telling us and try finding our own way." She was right, of course, but when she put it like that, it sounded even more exhausting than all the stairs they were currently climbing. "Sorry," Biana mumbled. "Didn't mean to derail the conversation." "No, you're right," Fitz told her, rushing up the next few stairs and turning to face them. "Okay, I want to preface this by saying I'm not a fan of it, but maybe we need to come at this totally different than we normally would. So instead of focusing on getting her to cooperate with us, we act like we are willing allies with her." "What does that mean?" Sophie asked. "We act like we want to join the Neverseen?" Fitz shook his head. "Nope. I mean, it means acting like we can't wait to work with her, showing her why she should have been on our side this whole time. I know it'll be tough, but maybe if we act like she's already a part of our team, she'll cooperate." "Okay," Biana said slowly. "You really think we can pretend to be her friend though? She's going to be sitting there in one of those creepy black cloaks, probably giving us a lot of attitude." "Well, we don't have to be friends," Sophie realized. "I doubt she'd believe that, but we could treat her like an equal. She kind of is. She could have just as easily been working with the Black Swan if we had reached out to her before the Neverseen recruited her." "You really think that's true?" Biana asked. "I don't know," Sophie admitted, "but it's at least possible. Both groups exist because of a lot of the same problems. They just have very different solutions." "Like murdering," Biana mumbled. "I know," Fitz told her. "That's why I hate this plan, but it's definitely a different approach than we normally use. And I'm pretty sure Glimmer will be accepting us to march in there and treat her like the enemy, so it might throw her off her guard if we don't." Biana sighed. I guess I can't be mad, since I'm the one who started us down this path. Fine, let's go be besties with Little Miss Neverseen." "Not besties," Sophie corrected. "Equals." Not that she really wanted to be equals with someone who had put bonds on Tam's wrist and blasted Keith with light to trigger the changes he was now struggling with. But Sophie kept those thoughts to herself. Her feet were ready to scream as at her for the abuse they had endured when Targan's house finally came into view. Sturdy stone towers peeking over fortress-like walls. Santa and Grizzle were waiting outside the only entrance, a wide rectangular door carved with elaborate filigree woven around the word Sol Reef. "I want to make one thing clear before we continue," Santa said. holding out his arms as a barricade. No matter what this Glimmer person tells you, you are taking that information and going home. I mean it, he added when Sophie opened her mouth to respond. She could tell you that every member of the Neverseen was drugged, tied up, and ready for capture as long as someone heads there in the next 5 minutes. And you will say, good to know, but we are going to listen to my bodyguard because he will lock me in my room for the rest of eternity. Are we clear? I already promised that, Sophie reminded him. She had been through the endless is it safe to meet with Glimmer conversation that morning. We won't do anything without discussing it with you. Not discussing, Sander corrected. Agreeing. We all need to agree on the next move. Fine, can we go in now? She reached around him to pull the rope for the chimneys, chimes, and a tinkling melody filled the air. Sophie was stunned to realize she recognized it. Was that the Beatles? She asked when Tyrion pulled open the door. His lips curled into a smile as he stepped aside to let them in. No one's ever recognized it before, but I suppose I should have known you would. Ready for your meeting? Your guest is waiting. He led them down a brightly lit hallway, past rooms that looked surprisingly warm and cozy. All the couches and the chairs were covered in soft, squishy pillows, and the tables and shelves were filled with worn books and framed photos and carefully selected knickknacks. Sophie wondered how Tyrion felt about having a former member of the Neverseen staying in a place he had worked so hard to make feel like a home, especially since they had no idea if Glimmer was involved with the Neverseen's abduction of Wiley. But it wasn't the right time to be thinking about things like that. They stopped at the carved wooden door, and Tyrion knocked in six very specific places before the door swung open, revealing Bo with a sword drawn like he had expected some sort of trickery. He had no smile for his former charge, but Sophie wasn't expecting one. Bo wasn't a fan of making friends. The space is small, so it's best if you wait out here, he told Sander, Grizzle, and Wolzum. Don't worry, if she makes any threats, I will end her. There won't be any threats, Tam grumbled from somewhere behind Bo. He was still rolling his silver blue eyes when Sophie made her way into the narrow sitting room. His smile also looked guarded, but this was the first time Sophie had seen him since Lomno. It probably felt even weirder for him than it did for her. Where's Lynn? She asked, trying to ease some of the tension, but Tam's went rigid again. She's still in Coralmere, he mumbled. She thought it was too crowded around here. No, she just doesn't like me, a new voice said, one that was both familiar and not familiar enough. It came from the corner of the room that Sophie had been trying her best to ignore, trying to prepare herself for the sight of a black cloak and the Neverseen's creepy eye symbol. But she couldn't avoid it anymore. Glimmer rested on a chaise near the window, her face completely obscured by a hood, and her head was turned as if she was staring outside and not paying them the slightest bit of attention. To save us all time, she said without turning toward them. I don't know where Gisela is, or anyone else. For that matter, I also don't know what they're planning or what's happening to your friend. Good, Sophie said, turning back to Tam. It made it easier to sound cheerful when she added, that's not what we are here to talk about. Yeah, well, I'm not telling you who I am either, Glimmer informed her. Also, not why we are here, Sophie promised. We are curious about why you joined the Neverseen, though, Biana jumped in, which seemed to catch Glimmer's attention. Why? She demanded, turning toward Biana. So you can tell me how misguided I am? Tam sighed. Glimmer, it's fine, Fitz assured him. We are not here to judge you, Glimmer. We are here to see if we can work together. Glimmer snorted and turned back to the window. No, you're here because you want something. You're right, Sophie agreed, taking a breath to study her temper. Her brain kept replaying the moment when Glimmer unleashed that light beam toward Keith's head, but she couldn't let herself fixate on that. We need help, she said quietly. Lots of it. And since we probably wouldn't have gotten out of Lomna without you, we thought you might be willing to work with us. I won't be working with you, though, will I? Glimmer snapped. I'll still be stuck right here, waiting for the next group of people to show up to ask me a bunch of endless questions, even though I don't know anything. Somehow I doubt that, Biana told her, but her tone was friendly. Teasing, even. I mean, I get it. I'm always grumbling about how the Black Swan never tells us anything. But if I really think about it, there is stuff I know, things I've seen, comments I've overheard, all kinds of tiny little pieces that add up. Sophie could practically hear the eye roll in Glimmer's voice when she said, Yeah, well, the Neverseen are too smart for that. Then why did you leave them? Fitz wondered. You joined for a reason, right? And you had to know that leaving would mean you'd end up in a room like this, which, by the way, doesn't have to stay that way. We want you on our side, Glimmer. You just have to trust us. Oh, good. We are finally to the part where you can tell me. You tell me I can prove myself by sharing this wealth of information you all seem to think I'm hiding, except I'm not, and no one believes me. And instead, everyone acts like I'm just being uncooperative. So here I sit, locked in a room with an Arch who keeps reminding me that he can end me anytime. I can, Bo agreed unhelpfully. Sophie sighed and glanced at Tam, whose shrug seemed to say, She's not wrong. Fine. You know what? Sophie said. There is one piece of information we are hoping you might have. But if not, it won't change us wanting to work together. So let's just put it out there so we can move on, okay? She paused for Glimmer to agree but was met with only silence. Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Sophie pressed on. We need to find Councillor Kenrick's cash. Keith stole it from me to prove his loyalty when he joined the Neverseen, and he thought he stole it back when he left. But it turns out that was a fake. So now we need to track down the real one, and we have no idea where to look. So if you have any information that might steer us right in the right direction, that would be awesome. Doesn't have to be anything huge, Biana added. We realize it's probably asking too much for there to be some sort of secret never seen storehouse where they hide all the important things. Biana was probably trying to lighten the mood with a joke, but Glimmer flinched. Even Tam noticed. What? He asked her. And don't say nothing. The silence stretched and stretched and stretched. Tam moved to sit beside her. These are my friends, Glimmer. You really can trust them. And if you know something that might help, it'll be better for everyone. No, it'll be better for you, Glimmer argued. All it'll do for me is prove that I need to stay in this room and have more people annoy me with questions. Maybe they'll even order a memory break. They won't, Sophie assured. And even if they did, they'd order me or Fitz to do it. And we won't. She took a cautious step closer, like she were approaching a frightened animal. We are not lying about wanting to work with you. We need your help. A whole lot more silence followed. Come on, Glimmer, Tam pleaded. If you don't trust them, trust me. Glimmer sighed. I heard Gisela mention something to Vespera about a storehouse one time. She didn't say much, but it sounded like it was a part of the Lodestar network. Sophie closed her eyes, wishing she hadn't let herself get her hopes up. It felt like a total gut punch having to admit. All the Lodestar hideouts were destroyed. Were they? Glimmer asked. Or is that what the Neverseen wanted you to believe? I mean, do you really think they'd destroy everything they'd built just because you guys cracked their little symbol, especially when they're so good at hiding things with illusions? A sharp intake of breath echoed around the room as the gravity of that revelation settled in. You know this for sure? Tam clarified. No, Gluma admitted, but it makes sense, right? It definitely did. I mean, I know they did destroy some stuff. Glimmer hedged. There was this whole annoying power struggle going on, and Finton was changing up some of the plans and decided to get rid of the stuff he was abandoning. But some of it was left, and it sounded like the storehouse was part of that. A tiny spark of hope flared inside Sophie as she whispered. Where do we find it? Glimmer turned to her, and Sophie could hear her sharp smile when she said, You're the one who said you wanted to work together, so here's your chance. I'll tell you which hideout to go to, but only if you take me with you.